Hi everyone, and welcome to Billy Fitzgerald Golf. And today I want to talk about how your elbows pivot. And I think it's pretty easy for most of us to feel how our trail elbow pivots, but a lot of us have a hard time with this lead elbow pivoting, whether it be we're pulling on the handle or we come over the top with your shoulders, which really allows us to, or makes us pull on the handle. So our arm, we kind of get chicken wing here. So it's a funny thing with golf is whatever happens over here, almost certain the opposite's going to happen over here. You know, for instance, my wrist hinge, if I swing back, my left hand's flat, my right hand's cupped, I hit. Now my right hand is flat, my left hand's cupped over here. I mean, so it's a lot of this is mirror image of each other, and I could go on and on about that, but today we're going to talk about your elbows and how your arms work in the swing to give the club a little more rhythm and a little bit more sequence and pivot in what it should be doing, so we can stop pulling on this handle. It also will help us from coming over the top or overusing our body through the strike, and I'll talk about that here in a second. So the very first thing is when we swing, if I were to go down the line, when I swing, this golf club swings back and my elbow right here, it pivots. So once the club gets about right here, the club is going to start going up the plane line, okay? And part of that is this elbow is pivoting, okay? So an example of my elbow not pivoting, if I were to swing back and my elbow went like this, so it pulled way in, right? So you can see what it did with the club. The club went way to the inside. So the club is going to run up this arc here. And a big factor of that is how this elbow and how this arm pivots. So my arm is actually doing this. My arm, if I hold the club like this, my arm is it's pivoting this way. So it's internally rotating a little bit. So when I swing back, my elbow and my arm pivot. You know, in an easy way to think about that is the weight in the head of this club. So as I swing and I get the weight of the club over here, it kind of does that for me a little bit if I don't fight it. So this arm and this wrist, everything kind of goes like that. So my arm's working like this. And I think a lot of people get that. Some don't, because I still see a lot of this. I still see a lot of right arm pulling in. No, your arm needs to pivot in front of you so the club can get into the correct position. And there's a couple other things, like how this hand has to maintain this wrist, and how my wrist loads back there, and my elbow helps me preserve that. Now in the follow through, right, I come down and I hit, and this arm and this elbow is going to pivot now. So this arm and this elbow is going to pivot now. So what I feel the weight of the club going left, okay, and I feel this arm rotating. Now it's not this. See how this arm would twist the face? Now when I hit and my arm works like this, see the face is going up the plane line. So I'm not twisting the face, but my arm is pivoting. So the face is closing relative to the target line. But my arm is doing the same thing. So some things that I feel are, right, this wrist is getting a little bit cupped. This arm is rotating, my elbow is pivoting, and my scapula, now my left scapula is gonna load, just like over on my right side. So when I swing back and my elbow pivots, right, I can feel this scapula load, I can feel this arm pivot, and I can feel what this right wrist is doing. Same thing over here. I hit, my arm pivots in front of me, and I can feel this left scapula load. So they do the exact same thing. So if we just tone it down a little bit and make some little swings, so we can start to feel how our elbows pivot. So when I swing and my right elbow pivots and I swing through here and my left elbow pivots. So that helps us with our L to L, or pivoting or hinging the golf club. So if they don't, this is what it looks like. So if my right elbow pulls like this, right, the club can't hinge and pivot and go up the path line, and I swing over here. If this left elbow does this and it pulls on the handle, right, and it can't hinge up. And you know, a lot of times I see this all the time. I see right elbow pulling in, then we come over the top and this pulls in like this. So you've got to make sure that your hands know what to do, your arms know what to do, and how these elbows will pivot. So when I swing back and forth, I feel this elbow pivot over here and the club go up. Now I got to feel the same thing over here. So I hit, I feel my left elbow pivot, and when I say by that, it almost feels like my, and we've got some drills here, it almost feels like my left elbow is coming in. See, it works right in front of me. So my right elbow works in front of me, my left elbow works in front of me. Now I'm able to hinge the club. So again, when we do L to L, you want to feel like you can do L to L with your elbows in front of you. So if I were to make a practice swing, I've got my L over here, but my elbow pivots. And then I hinge, and I got my elbow over here, but my elbow pivots. Okay, so we'll hit one just like this. So we'll go L to L. Again, my elbow pivots over here, my elbow pivots over there. Okay, so my elbows are working just like this. So you want to feel how your elbows pivot. I think one of the major things that we have to feel is that how much speed is actually in the golf club when my elbow starts to pivot. Right there. So we've got that lever and that hinge and my elbow pivots, and now the club goes around me and it pivots over here, which is a heck of a lot faster than me turning and dragging the club this way. Turning and dragging the club this way. See, I can't get the face to work. So we start to feel elbow pivot, elbow pivot, elbow pivot, elbow pivot. Okay, so one drill that you can work on and feel is we're just going to start there. Okay, so we're going to set up, and you're going to pivot your elbow so your elbow will feel like it stays in front, and this club, the butt end of this club is pointing pretty much down towards the ground. So we just let the elbow fold and let this hinge up over here. Again, let it fold and hinge up, hit, let it fold and hinge up. We've got to make our arms be able to work like that to get speed in the club. Okay? So we'll hit one, so I'm going to let my elbow fold and let the club go up. I'm going to let my elbow fold and let the club go up. Now my elbow folds and pivots. Now my elbow folds and pivots. So I can feel how this golf club passes my body. It goes so much faster than this. I don't want everything going the same speed. I don't want this and this and this going the same speed. I'm losing speed. I'm losing way too much speed. I'm putting way too much effort into it. And so golf is harder and it goes shorter. So I don't think we want that. I think we want it to go longer and straighter with less effort. That's usually what people like to hear. So to review, we've got our elbows are doing this. This arm's going like this, and this arm's going like this. Okay, now I put my hands on it, I put some levers in it, I feel my elbow in front pivot, elbow in front pivot. So the club is starting to sink out with my body. Okay, so we go elbow pivot, elbow pivot. So the club's got a lot of speed in it, and it's not determined how fast I can move my body. I've got these levers, and my hands are working. Yes, my body is critically important. It actually, my body, when you look at what the club is doing, my elbows and my hands and my wrists, right, it starts to transport that. It's transporting everything that we're building. So get really good with your hands in the club face and how your elbows pivot so the club works up and down the plane line. We've got to get that right before we put your body into it so that holds up once you start turning, moving your body, and moving these forces in the ground. For more tips like these or to schedule a live lesson, visit me at BillyFitzgeraldGolf.com.